Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are so excited. This episode, we have someone very special. You may know him as Cowboy Nathan, Cowboy Morrissette. We know him as our realtor in residence. Stay tuned. We're going to have a great conversation in the hot seat. Thank you for taking the time to be here with us in the hot seat with the Realtor in Residence. So we're really excited. We know the Realtor in Residence webinars are fantastic, full of information for our grassroots realtors. But what we are not sure of is how many people really know our Realtor in Residence. So for those who may not know, can you explain what the Realtor in Residence is?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. The Realtor in Residence position is works in a couple different capacity roles. Works as a lead subject matter and a liaison for the Speakers Bureau, but is also OREA's real estate expert for different questions. And basically, I assist members with certain questions that they have pertaining to real estate matters, helping them navigate transactions, which forms and clauses to use, of course, with the Standard Forms team.
Yes.
So lots of questions come in on how to navigate transactions. So we assist them with that. And then, of course, the famous webinars that you talked about, of course, Realtor in Residence is host of those as well, which have gained some popularity over the last little bit.
Good
and
popularity.
really helped the members out in that capacity as well. So
good. Can you tell us about yourself? What makes you a great Realtor in Residence?
I don't know if the word great is what I would use for it, but I think one of the things that I really try to focus on is what would I want as a member? What do I want to know? What do I need to know? And kind of focus the content in that aspect. And then, of course, bringing in a little bit of my flair to the presentations as well, I think really helps me. But whether it's the Realtor in Residence role or real estate, I've always had the ability to strive for more. And I always want to keep learning. And I think that's an important aspect to the role, is that, you know, there's always something to learn and to grow from, and try to do that as well.
Listen, you've been province wide. So how has it been? We're, I think, entering into year 2 of you being our Realtor in Residence. So how has it been as an experience in total? Like, how has that worked for you? How's it been for you?
It's been amazing. I really do enjoy it because I really do love real estate, right? So when I get to go and talk to members across the province about real estate, that's special. I get some information that maybe some others don't. I get to hear firsthand what members are seeing, what they're experiencing, some of the difficulties that they're going through. And then we're able to take that and apply some of the forms and training and resources that assist them in what they do, which is help their clients buy and sell real estate.
Love it. So can you tell us a little bit about the actual Realtor is in series? Why members should be watching these recordings? Always.
Because they're available to you. Yeah. You know, I think why they're so popular is because the content is good, right? You know, when you have something of value that really helps a member out, they're going to naturally gravitate towards that. So I think that's one of the things that kind of sets it apart. But what are we talking about, right? Because a webinar is a webinar. Well, these webinars really focus on some of the content that you need, the different topics. You know, we talk for everything from designated representation, competing offers. We did one on the agreement of purchase and sale and kind of took that apart and explained some things. So when you're getting some information like that, that's more in depth, but that's applicable to their role in helping them with their business, that's important. But I also think having the question and answer period really helps as well. You know, members can come on, they can learn something, but they can also ask questions throughout the presentation, but also we dedicate some time specifically for question and answer period and help them navigate their transactions as well. You know, so members want to go, they can get on the call with us. They can also go to OREA.com, click on the Standard Forms tab, and click on the video resources. And there's all the recordings from past webinars, so they can go and rewatch and see what was said and help them out with the specific topic that they're going for.
Yes. And it's not just forms, it's procedural stuff as well, right? Within that transaction, they're connected. So I would assume a lot of the questions are standard forms related, but there could be that procedural aspect of it too.
Of course, it's helping them with transactions. Of course, in the last couple of years, we've had a lot of changes with TRESA.
Yes.
So a lot of things like that, forms, clauses, anything that they need to help them with navigating that transaction, for sure.
For sure. I'd love to know, what are some of the most common questions that you get? It could be a dangerous question, but what are some of the most common questions that you get from members? And which areas within the transaction do you find members have the most trouble navigating most often?
I mean, without question, the most common questions we get are multiple representation and designated representation. Navigating those two aspects of things from there, without a doubt, is just a high volume, right? How do we operate this way? How do we do things properly? And sometimes they know the answer. They just want to confirm different things. Sometimes it's helping them with which form or clause to use in that regard. Well, with the TRESA changes, I would say TRESA questions are predominantly what we get asked for, helping them navigate that because it's a little bit unknown.
Yeah.
And when you think about the real estate process from the agent's perspective, right? Sometimes you're navigating something in a transaction that may not be common to you for a period of time. You might go through 10 transactions and not need this one aspect or go through this one avenue. And then all of a sudden, we're a year and a half into TRESA and now this is applicable to that transaction and you need to know that information. So it's pretty important for that. But I mean, we get a lot of questions. And so if you have some, please email them in standardforms@OREA.com. You can use the Realtor in Residence at OREA.com email as well. But we love to get those questions and help get you the right answer.
And listen, I'll say you and I sat on standard forms last year together. The questions that are submitted or the comments that are submitted actually come to the committee for discussion, which is a really cool thing. I mean, I think for the most part, we all assume that they get there. The assumption is there, but we can say, no, they actually literally get there. And we have a wholesome discussion about every single one of them.
Yeah. And I think this is a great point, Kim, because not a lot of people realize that, right? They think, I'm going to email it in and I don't hear about it for a period of time.
That's right.
Trust me, every single input inquiry gets sent to that committee, and that committee, sometimes enjoys it. Maybe sometimes doesn't as much, but that's fine. But it's nice to know that all the members are being heard and their question or suggestion is being brought to the people to have a healthy discussion about it and to see if it's something that can be implemented.
Yes.
And a lot of times that's where a lot of the great questions and changes come from, is having those discussions.
Yes.
And when you think about the real estate transaction from the province aspect too, real estate is very different in your part of real estate versus mine and across the province. So you need to be able to adapt to those different scenarios and applications across the province.
But have a healthy balance where you don't end up with a 10-page agreement of purchase and sale.
Correct. Unless it's needed, then of course that's fine, right?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So we did some of the common themes. What are some of the most common misconceptions that you hear about?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I think some of the misconceptions are how some of the aspects of TRESA Phase 2 have been interpreted or applied to real estate. But I would say from forms and transaction process really is multiple representation and the timing, and then designated and brokerage representation. A lot of times people are reaching out and the brokerage is unsure if they're brokerage or designated or both, and having that set, what are the requirements or what do I need to do based on those? I think that's kind of a misconception on, how they work. With a better understanding, I think people will get there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're talking about TRESA, but let's go into what you think some of the biggest changes between Phase 1 and Phase 2 are.
That's a good one.
It's big. They're two big changes as a collective.
I have to say designated representation. That's ultimately what the consumer thought of when, they were operating prior to Phase 2 being implemented. We didn't have it, of course.
Yes.
But that's kind of what the consumer thought, that, you were their representative and you were representing them. They didn't really understand that the brokerage was. So having that in place, I think, is probably the biggest one. And then, of course, the timing of multiple representation, the RICO info guide as well is probably a big one too.
It's true. It's true. Our lovely 13-page guide. But you know what? From the outside, I hear the consumers actually quite like it. It's plain language moving forward. So as tedious as we find the 13-page guide, can it be shortened? I think we could work with Rico probably on that. But for the most part, I think consumers are quite enjoying it.
Yeah. And it's important, like what people sometimes often forget is you're having those conversations with them at that time anyway, right? So laying it out in plain language, kind of showing them and navigating them through that transaction.
Yes.
They like to be educated, you know, they might not like the time it takes to get there, but at the end of the day, they do like knowing that you, for one, know what you're talking about and what you're doing, but you're helping them prior to any services, getting them that information, and even, you know, having that discussion with them at the listing agreement and the different aspects that we do. You know, oftentimes we're repeating ourselves to our clients 3-4 times over the same thing, but that's okay. You know, we feel like it's repetitive because we do it every day.
All the time.
This is one transaction for them in a probably maybe not in 10, 15 years.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not very often for them. So for them, being told a few times is not a bad thing.
No, it's not. And then it stays. What are some of the things you think we'll see in forms changes when we move towards phase 3?
I'm not 100% sure. I don't know what's on the agenda for phase 3. I don't know what ultimately will happen. What I can say is whatever happens, we will be ready. We will have forms for you. As always, you know, we have a saying at the forms team, we have a form for that.
We do.
So we will get a form ready. We will make sure that whatever the changes are, that members will be able to use the forms and have the information that they need at their fingertips.
Well, I know you talked about it before. So there are 2 major forms resources available to members. Can you tell me about some of the other resources that are available to our members?
So many.
I know.
First of all, OREA Forms, the Knowledge Hub. You got to go to the hub. I think it's the most visited page on OREA's website for good reason. There's a wealth of information there. So aside from the video resources that we talked about where they can go and watch webinars, this is a hub that's dedicated with information on so many different topics. There's over 30 topics, over 200 frequently asked questions to help members with that information. What's interesting about those guidance pieces, that when you click on those, there's some really cool AI videos that are tapped into some of those, but there's ultimately some PDFs that you can download and have some takeaways and take that with you and have a deeper learning. And what I love about it is it helps you understand the why.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we understand how we need to do something or what needs to be done, but we don't really know why we have to do it. So having that information so you can better explain it to your clients, so you can have a better understanding yourself is such a good value add. So I highly recommend that. Of course, the OREA Forms course, Mastering OREA Forms course was launched recently with Humber. So I know you have a lot of information about that, Kim, but you know, that is a good resource tool as well for those members that want a deeper learning on forms. They want to take a course to kind of better educate themselves, have some good understanding. The good thing about that course is it's 100% instructor led.
Yes.
So you have face-to-face instructor contact the entire time. You're able to ask questions, navigate that, and really take apart and go through all the forms and clauses and scenarios over a period of time, and then get a certificate at the end to say that you've taken that as well. So I think that's a good one too. But again, you said it, the committee gets emails, so you can always email standardforms@orea.com, or realtor and residents at orea.com, and that'll come to me. We'll get your response there. Any forms, suggestions, anything like that. We're happy to have that.
The really cool part is some of those forms explained, and even the clause book. I mean, they're in the website with OREA, but I've noticed for those who use web forms, there's an integration now right within web forms of having those booklets. So it's right at your fingertips. It helps people when maybe they're just not prepared or don't know where to look on the website for it. So I thought that was a really cool feature added. I don't know if it was this year or last year.
I think it was this year. Don't quote me on that, but I do believe it's new because the forms clause booklet is amazing. It lists every clause that's available to you. But what's important about that is our annual update page as well. So every year we come out with that, and it has a list of all the forms that have been changed, any updates, any new forms will be indicated on there as well. So when members are going through it in December or January, when they get turned over and updated, they can quickly look at that and say, okay, which forms have been changed? Because there are a lot of forms available and a lot of clauses available for them as well. So it's interesting for that.
Yeah, good. Good. So I know you've talked about it already and mentioned it a few times. If members have forms questions, where do they go to make suggestions for revisions or extra questions or comments?
Yeah, so they can email standardforms@OREA.com. That one is going to get a response. Sometimes you can use that for navigating any question you have, or if you have a suggestion for a form or an idea, send it there. Anything related to me or questions with transactions can be sent to Realtor in residence at OREA.com, and they will respond to you as well. And I see that we help with those responses. That's part of the role. So we're always anxious to see those questions, and that's ultimately how we navigate some of the topics that we're going to talk about. When we see that there's a series of questions coming in on a similar topic, we might do a special webinar, which we have webinars. We wrapped up the spring series where we got our fall series coming up, but from time to time we will have special episodes depending on the topic and situation needed as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit when we're still on forms. You've traveled this province. What are some of the favorite boards you like to visit?
Cannot say that. I will not answer that. Cannot answer that. Will not do that. My home board's not going to like the answer to that, but that's okay.
Well, you could say Sault Ste. Marie.
I would say this. I have not been at a place that I did not enjoy being at. Everyone is welcoming. And what I love is the feedback that we get from those, from all the members. They're very appreciative of us going out there and talking to them and providing the outreaches, and the feedback, the positive comments that we've had has been spectacular. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I love them all.
I'm gonna do one more. So
Nice
I know
try.
you do. Yeah, I know you do board visits, but brokerage visits, are those becoming more popular? I know I've had you up for a more one-on-one with my agents up in Sault Ste. Marie, and there's a fee associated with that. But do you find that that's something that's growing as well?
It is, and I think that's a good resource for people as well, because the webinars are great. They help with certain topics, but when we're on those webinars, we have to make sure that we are talking about the entire province. So we're talking about brokerage representation and designated representation and how they interact together. Brokerages have us come in and, they might be designated only. So then we're able to focus on designated and explain how that works for them. So yeah, we are seeing an increase in brokerages having us out. That's one of the resources that they have. If you want a outreach to come to your association or brokerage, you can book that.
Yes.
Just email the forums team, standardforms@OREA.com, and they will accommodate you, and we'd love to see you.
And I just want to make it known too, we don't ever want to step on a member board's toes. Board associations always are great with booking you or a speaker, one of the speakers, to come to the board and do that. There are just the occasions where sometimes folks in the office, in their specific office, can't make it out. So the brokerage presentations are a really good offside for that.
They really are.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, my guys loved it. They absolutely loved it.
Good, I'm glad.
Yeah. Okay. So that wraps up our questions. I've got some fun questions for you now.
Okay.
A little bit of hot
Those
seat.
were fun. We were talking about forms. So
I know. I could talk about forms all day long.
Okay.
All day long.
Me too.
But this is more on the fun side. So when you text, what is your most used emoji?
I'm ashamed to say, but the laughing emoji.
The laughing emoji face.
It's got to be. I overuse it. I will say that.
At least it's not the
Sorry,
thumbs up.
everybody.
Yeah. If you had to eat one dish for the rest of your life, what would it be?
You can't do that to me. I gotta
That's
say,
like the favorite board?
I can't decide. Yeah, pizza or poutine. I can't. I'm not gonna pick one. I hope I don't ever have to pick one.
Fair enough. If you could speak any language in addition to English, what would you choose?
French.
Same. Yeah. I would too.
I could a little bit when I was younger, but not so much. So I think that's something I really need to do that. Actually, it's on my list.
Yes. There's just something about when you hear like a French speaking person go and you're like, man, that just sounds so great. Yeah.
Sounds good. I'm not sure what they're saying.
Yeah, they could be totally ripping you apart.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you never know. What animal best represents you and why?
These are tough. I'm going to say a horse. partly because when I was 5 or 6, that's what I wanted to be when I grew up, for some strange reason. But I think, I think the why is because determined, solid, maybe not the fastest, but fast. And I like to take a load and pull. So I think that's a good one for me.
Carry a lot on your back. If you could live in any fictional universe, which one would you choose? We are literally putting you in the hot seat, aren't we?
I like Star Wars, but I gotta say, Neverland, Peter Pan, Never Getting Old kind of has an appeal. So I don't know. I mean, either one I'd be fine with.
Forms forever.
Forms, yeah. Forms. Forms universe, no problem.
Done. Well, listen, thank you so much for being with us today for this podcast. We look forward to many more with you, because I'm sure this will be a continuous conversation throughout the year and into next year with our PE Meredith. So thank you so much again, and until next time.
Thanks for having me. It's been great. Thank you.